Okay. Just wanted to make sure it was working over there. Let me check the audio real quick.
What's good, everyone? Oh shit, what was that? Aw, dude, my 6'4" frame with huge muscles, but not so big that they're threatening, just knocked over my Claro vinyls, and they fell onto my Dostoevsky novels, my book on period cramps, and my tote bag. Thank God it didn't fall onto my bell hooks not capitalized collection. Like literally last week, I was drinking matcha on the train, and I spilled it on one of them, and I literally cried. But just enough to show that I'm like in
Okay.
tune with my emotions, but
I wanted to make sure the audio was also coming through on the stream. So why am I watching this guy, right? I've never done this type of content before, so please bear with me while I try. But I I found this guy's channel last night and I watched a couple of his videos and they were fine. I wasn't overly impressed or enlightened, I guess, by what he had to say. But I was bored, smoking weed, watching YouTube. So I went to his channel and looked at his most recent video. And I started to watch it, and the whole time I was like, I don't know about that. Just the things he was saying, I'm like, I think you're wrong. I think you misunderstand the concept, maybe. Like, he doesn't really understand what a pick me is, so he's applying it in the wrong way to TikTok boys. So I could just be out of touch. I could be completely out of touch. I'm not discounting that possibility at all. But I feel like I've at least kept up with not so much the lingo, you know, God help us all, the millennials. Um, but as far as I guess what the slang and the meanings behind them are, like cooked is one I'm hearing a lot, and I know it means it's done. So, and pick me has been around for decades, but language is ever evolving and it's always changing. So that's why I always make sure to say I could be out of touch. Maybe there was a change in the zeitgeist, cultural whatevers that I just kind of missed. So let me know. If it was, wow, I am about to make an ass of myself. Kind of. Because while everything I just said, I believe it's true, but what made me decide to do this is a very specific part of the video. And I'll just wait for us to get there, but you'll see. But yeah, let's Royal Young is the name of the channel. Maybe that's his name too. Like that might be his legal name. I don't know. Royal Young. The real problem with TikTok pick me boys. Let's check it out.
what's good, everyone? Oh shit, what was that? Aw, dude, my 6'4" frame with huge muscles, but not so big that they're threatening, just knocked over my Claro vinyls, and they fell onto my Dostoevsky novels, my book on period cramps, and my tote bag. Thank God it didn't fall into my bell hooks not capitalized collection. Like literally last week, I was drinking matcha on the train and I spilled it on one of them and I literally cried. But you know, just enough to show that I'm like in tune with my emotions, but not enough to make me look emotionally unstable or like a burden. Unlike other men, you know, I was
So this is why I actually kind of like the guy, because his cadence and his condescending sarcasm, he's pretty good at it. You know, like I'm not trying to call him out and be like, you're wrong and bad. More of, hey, just be more accurate, maybe. And plus the other thing that we'll get to. So, yeah.
totally written by a woman, Colleen Hoover to be exact. What you just witnessed is pick-me energy in its purest form. What is a pick-me, you ask? Well,
That's
it's
true.
basically anyone who's just doing the absolute most to get noticed by a certain group. And today we're discussing
That's-
pick-me men, usually going after women, either for romantic reasons or to grow an audience, usually both. And the way they do
Okay,
this is by
so-
putting on just this absolutely
Like I said, I was stoned when I watched it last night. But that is like the definition of pick me behavior, you know. The most clear and obvious example that many people, especially here in the United States, have seen is like a black person that's really fucking weird. Like, there's no other way to describe it, but you know it when you see it. And I grew up in the South, like I'm a deep South dude. You know, I was born in New Orleans and I grew up in Mobile. So I know a lot of black people. I know. I'm one of I'm doing pick me behavior right now. But I'm just trying to give an example. I guess another big one that you see right now are the trad wives. They're trying to. I don't think they're actually trying to seek a traditional relationship or anything like that. I think they're seeking views to get money. And if they gotta freaking put on a dress and bake a cake and plow a field to do that, more power to you, sister. But that is pick me behavior as well. So now I'm a little bit confused why I was like, let's keep going, we'll see.
ridiculous performative persona to pander to their audience's possible preferences.
I cried at Phoebe Bridgers in the shower. I cried at Phoebe Bridgers in the shower.
And the third
He plays that guy
way
a
we're trying to
lot.
do this is by like putting down other people in their demographic. So in this case, other men.
Oh, you want to know another absolute
That's true as well, of course. And I guess whenever I was talking about black people I know that would exhibit some pick me behavior, and when I was like, it's really weird, that's kind of what it was. I just couldn't put words to it in the moment. But yeah, they'll talk crap about other people in their community. And you, like, I'm a white guy. I don't know if you noticed this, but I've experienced, you know, a black person talking to me. You know, we're having a conversation and they'll be kind of talking trash about, you know, other people in their community. And I can tell that they're trying to not impress me, but get me to like them a little bit more. And that's pretty common behavior, is just like a defense mechanism, of course. So I'm not, like, with all of this, I am not trying to be negative, put any kind of negativity out there, not for real, maybe a little bit. Yeah, that was a lie. I'll put out some negativity for sure. But, yeah, that's the pick me behavior, the putting down other people. What the heck did I want to do this for? This dude is saying pretty accurate stuff so far. let's keep going. I don't know.
disgusting secret about men. Oh, you want to know another absolutely? Oh, do you want to hear another? Oh, do you want to hear? Oh, hey, would you?
And you know, absolutely nothing wrong with shitting on men. It's one of my favorite activities. That's why I started this channel. Like, look, I know that's a pick me comment, but I'm literally
Yeah.
in the thumbnail. What did you expect? But after a certain point, this behavior starts to seem really disingenuous, and people really start to get icked out by it. And I'm interested in the psychological
Okay,
reasons.
that was a big thing I wanted to bring up. The ick. Did the meaning of ick change? Because ick used to be a very specific feeling of like, ooh, this is kind of, I'm dealing with a pervert. This dude's kind of rapey. You know, this guy might need to learn about the finer points of consent. You know, different things like that. But, and not only in this video, but I've also read, you know, other discussions where people are like, yeah, he gave me the ick. Oh, why? Because he rides a motorcycle. I'm like, what? And like, I've seen people apply it to traits that are just annoying. And if you want to say someone is annoying, that's awesome. Lots of people are annoying. Most people are annoying. I am annoying. I know that for sure. More pick me behavior. But ick was, like I said, it was very specific, and you kind of need words like that to keep their original meaning. But also, maybe the ick was something completely different in years past, and I'm just once again showing how out of touch I am. But I feel like words like the ick or terms should retain their weight, because if, like, I probably wouldn't be in this situation. Like, usually it's two women signal to each other or say to each other like, hey, this guy is giving me the ick. Like, that's kind of a warning, like, hey, watch your back. But if the person now thinks the ick is riding a motorcycle, and both, like, one party is using the ick in the sense of, hey, this guy's a pervert, or seems like a predator, steer clear of him, and she tells party B that the dude has the ick, and party B is under the impression of like, oh, he rides motorcycles? I actually like that. And then she just walks into a bear trap, you know? So I don't know how much people will agree with that, but it's how I feel.
Why. So that's also what we're going to cover today. Also, don't harass these people. I'm not trying to justify any of the actual hate they get. Like, you can have your opinion, just don't be a dick. But anyways, on to the first type of guy. So when it comes to attention-seeking behavior, why do people typically do this? Like, what is their motive? Well, oftentimes, it's to get an audience of people who are attracted to them, or who they're attracted to.
I cry to Phoebe Bridgers in the shower.
And there's one very notable internet ecosystem that this happens in. That's right, we're talking about book talk again, for like the 5th time on this channel, I think. Well, kind of. We're talking about people who pander to book talk. So book talk is the incredibly horny book community on TikTok, and every time a romance novel comes out about like a certain genre of guy, so like, you know, tattooed guys or hockey guys, book talk all develops like a collective attraction to them, and then in a beautiful example of dialectic,
I wish I was aware of this sooner. Like, I've heard of book talk, I've been aware of it for a long time. I didn't know this was part of it. Man.
a bunch of dudes pop up who pander to that gaze to try to get like an audience. You know, even if there's a 0% chance these dudes act like this in real life. But yeah, so one of these groups are the biker guys. Biker guy, I hardly know her guy. And this has led to some of the worst content to ever touch the internet.
Like the I'm when
This guy, I just do not, or I cannot see this as being pick me behavior in the hopes of attracting someone that reads books. I don't know. I know that's a mean way to phrase that. And it's not that people with silly senses of humor don't read books or vice versa, of course. But it just doesn't, I don't know. I'm probably out of touch on this. But this type of behavior that this dude's about to do reminds me of the LOL so random, rar, holds up my spork type of humor that was popular when I was a teenager. So it would be weird if that was cycling back in, because while I always liked it and I always thought it was funny, it did get rejected at some point by popular society. But seriously, what do they know? They suck.
and I'm like the new gen skibbity toilet. I'm skibbity recycling. Oh shoot! No. Let me
I
explain,
kind of think
okay?
this
Let
is
me
funny.
explain. Don't worry, I don't have a cone to the left of me. I pinky toe promise. But I do have a good idea. Oh look at that!
I am gonna turn this down
Talks with Calder.
That was
because
like
it's
third.
funny for like a
It's been a bit
second.
longer than that, and he has like 20 of these on his channel. Check out the description, hashtag ADHD. You know, it's not
That-
really my
yeah.
content, but whatever. If that's your cup of tea, that's fine. Now look, someone wise once told me not to throw cringe when I live in a cringe house, but I'm gonna ignore that advice because I was in disbelief when I first saw this. It really feels like it's trying too hard because like this is a funny moments compilation that was specifically manufactured to be a funny moments compilation.
That's genius. I wish I would have thought of that. I mean, it just makes sense, right? Maybe I'm weird in that regard, but I think that's just a really good idea.
Oh yeah. What I need mental help. Something in my eye. Something in my eye.
Like, there's no central rhyme or reason to this video. He just got out here and did a bunch of quirky things to show off his, like, golden retriever personality. It's really the industry plant version of a funny moments compilation. But, you know, his audience could definitely tell it's just an act, right? Like, they don't think he actually acts like this in his normal day-to-day life. No, not at all. Y'all acting like this ain't normal male ADHD.
This is,
What? Is that what he...
yeah, this is a reason I wanted to watch this, because this is kind of ADHD and fucking.
I think a 20-year-old dude with ADHD acts like? Like, yeah, clearly
Kinda.
the A in ADHD stands for AO3. Because these dudes do not exist outside of fanfiction. I don't know, man. That
That's just not true.
initial Skibbity recycling bin clip is kind of what inspired me to make this video. Because I found it really interesting how far people will go to manicure a certain image of themselves just to target a specific audience. He's trying to target the book talk women who really like that weird, innocent, like, fake ADHD type biker boy.
Fake ADHD? What? You don't know this dude? Like, I'm just saying.
That is a sentence, wow. Which for one, they aren't real. And for two, how is that
Why-
appealing?
why not?
Imagine getting home from a long day of work, asking this guy what's for dinner, and he's talking about some fucking Skibbity recycling bin. Despite the fact that
Yeah.
no dude our age ever
Yeah, dude with ADHD. That's how that goes, man. I mean, I if you don't know, you don't know. But there have been times that people ask me, "What are we doing for dinner?" And I say, "I'm not sure yet, but let me tell you about this thing I've been thinking about over here for 20 minutes." It's kind of, it's not fake, it's real.
like this in the history of anything while sober. Well, I think he's my age. He's never actually said, but that's a problem we'll get into later.
God. by the
Foreshadowing.
way, we're so close to 100K by the wheels.
And in his other content with other people, he actually acts way more down to earth and like way more natural. And before he blew up, he acted way different. All I'm gonna say for now is it involves some explicit pictures of SpongeBob and Patrick. It's really crazy to like see the dichotomy here.
The dichotomy is crazy.
And side note, with this sort of
There isn't a dichotomy. It's not a it's not a dichotomy. A dichotomy is black or white. Is it black or is it white? That's a dichotomy. It's a forced decision between two choices. Maybe not forced. That might not have been appropriate. But there isn't a dichotomy. It's not either you're a fake ADHD biker boy or something else. I mean,
Friends webcomic. No, I haven't read it. Stop typing. In that comment,
He's-
it's dudes
he
my
read
age,
it.
right? Grown men with dick and balls, right? And they're all acting like kawaii anime girls or whatever. And I'm just like, dude,
you gotta get out of your house, bro. These people are everywhere. Like, they just are.
is this what you think 20-year-old guys act like?
They
It's so bizarre to see
do.
other people's fantasies of a demographic I'm a part of. Like, that is me right there. Imagine me.
Yes!
Unless you're into that. Some of y'all are some freaks, dude. I read my comment section. I don't know. It's just so bizarre to see real dudes lean into this fantasy and cutified persona of my demographic I'm a
Wait a minute. You just said they're not real. What do you mean?
part of. And look, I'm trying to be fair here. Like, there's nothing inherently wrong with putting on an act. But, like, you gotta remember that naturally people are gonna find it cringe when they can see through the facade you're putting on. I think that's why pick-me behavior bothers a lot of people. When you seem like you're really forced trying to put on a personality, it just kind of like violates that social expectation of being open in a conversation. Especially when it seems super forced.
I agree
And
with that.
doubly so when it's a persona that's really only possible through really quick edits. Like, okay, this video flows really well energy-wise, but like, dude, recording it had to be the exact opposite. Like, every cut here, there has to be at least like 5 to 10 seconds of just dead silence. And you know what? I'm gonna throw my dignity away today. I'm gonna mime it out for you. Now, I don't have a recycling bin, but just like, just
He just said that this guy has no dignity. He just said, I'm gonna give up my dignity to mimic him. That's him saying the guy with the biker helmet doesn't have any dignity.
just like watch how awkward this is. I'm like the new gen Skibbity toilet. I'm Skibbity recycling.
Look, I don't know nothing about Skibbity Toilet, so I can't be like, oh yeah, I'd be like Skibbity. But I've definitely walked around my house or just any environment I feel comfortable enough in and done this kind of crap. Minus the fucking the screeching. That's a I can't do the loud sudden noises, so I'm not gonna put that on other people either. But minus that, this kind of looks a little normal to me, guys. I don't know, man. And I'm not saying normal as in this is what everyone is out there doing. I mean normal as in just a weird guy with ADHD, maybe a little bit of autism in the mix, living their life. And I don't know.
Oh, shoot! Oh, shoot!
That last bit was extra true because my balance is terrible.
I'm sorry you had to see that. Look, the amount of embarrassment I put myself through for content is unbelievable, and you're still not subscribed. Ref, kill him. Moving on, though, I feel like if you went the Martin Cabello route,
Today's subject, slavery.
and had like a central topic in his videos to talk about and show his goofy personality, it'd be a lot better received. And I really think that's a consistent trend with pick me guys in this video. Like, they come off as cringe or untrustworthy because like these videos are just
Like the
ham-fisted
other
beyond
one.
belief, trying to show off their attributes.
Quite a
That last guy, I could totally see being classified as a pick-me guy. The one with the red cup? Biker guy?
Phoebe Bridgers in the shower.
They're really just existing to fill out a checklist of attractive traits, and that's why it like really off-puts people. And are these dudes even bikers? Like, I feel like I never even see them riding their bikes. But I'm gonna be real, I actually much prefer this type of content, because it really is just a million times safer, unless there's like a freak stinky leg accident. Like, sorry Cozy, but romanticizing dying in a car accident is both disrespectful to yourself and everyone who loves you. Speeding because you're sad is just corny. Now this video is about why these pick-me accounts bug me. So why does Cozy's account bug me? Well, here's what I said initially until I dug deeper and found some much worse stuff. So the first, less serious issue is that at least half of the audience's persona attracts are middle and high schoolers, and
Yeah.
they leave a ridiculous amount of thirst comments, and it's so uncomfortable to read through. And like, nothing wrong with being a child entertainer or having minors watch you, but they're kind of
This is what made me want to do this. Because the first part, after you see this, the first part just feels like you're bullying this guy, and maybe he deserves it after seeing this crap. But as far as those not being at least somewhat normal ADHD traits, they just are. And as far as not seeing any kawaii boys running around like a 20-year-old dude wearing cat ears, I see that all the time. Like, on the streets, not pictures on the internet. I mean people in my town. I mean people in the city I used to live in. Every event I go to, every concert, everything. These people are out here.
is when you're thirst trapping or when they're leaving comments like this. And obviously you
And, oh. Make sure, yep, okay. And just to make it clear in case it's not, I haven't made it clear, I think that's a good thing. Like, I get the whole cringe factor and all, but anytime people feel comfortable enough to express themselves, I am a fan of.
can't always tell. A lot of them are obvious due to context clues, and a lot of them just say it. And despite that, they're still up. If you have 13-year-old kids asking if they have a chance with you in your comment section, you are doing something extremely wrong, despite the fact that he's almost definitely an adult. The reason I'm 99% sure is that his girlfriend's 21, and she's been posting in his comment section for 2 months now, and he posted a birthday post 2 weeks ago, implying that he's at the very least 19. Also, he looks like 23. So my question is, why the hell are these comments tolerated? Why are you letting 14-year-olds say shit like, I'm only 14, but I'm the one for you? Like, seriously, that should indicate something massively wrong going on with you.
Yeah?
And I don't want to exaggerate the problem too much, but literally anyone who
What?
talks about dating, all the comments are like,
This is-
gee, I'm your type. I'm also underage though, and
What are you talking about? You are, like, is this calculated? Like, the royal whatever guy? Like, is he trying to trigger people into making videos like this? Because, what are you talking about? You don't want to over-exaggerate the problem of him catering to young girls to potentially do something inappropriate with. You're like, I don't want to blow this out of the water, but the fake ADHD pick me, that's a bridge too far. You have gone too far. It's just, that's insane to me, right? Like, am I crazy?
It's just like, oh my gosh, like maybe he is removing these comments, but whatever he's doing isn't enough. Like if you're gonna thirst trap, I feel like not being misleading about your age and not entertaining the comments of people out of your age range is the absolute bare minimum. Like, just put minors do not interact in your bio. It really is just that simple if you want to thirst trap. He's not that crazy with it, but he knows what his audience thinks. Although I will say, if it turns out he's actually been 17 at any point during this video, yeah, then I'm gonna make a video on general internet safety, because then I'm concerned on his behalf. But regardless, he is without a doubt an adult now, and 99% chance been an adult for at least a year. So that begs the question, why doesn't he stop these comments? And the reason why is that this goes against the logic of profitability. If he was to say his age, he'd alienate one portion of his audience. And if all those parasocial teenagers disappear, who's gonna buy his $75 hoodies? This isn't an accusation of any sort, I just think it's irresponsibility for—
Like I say, I might be out of touch, but is it 13 and 14-year-old girls on Book Talk? Like, anytime I've seen Book Talk mentioned, it was on YouTube. And it was adult women talking about books. And they would say stuff like, you might have heard about this one on Book Talk recently. And I don't recall any of them being anything that would appeal to young girls. Plenty of stuff that would appeal to young women. Maybe there's two sides of Book Talk, and I'm just not aware of it. That's entirely possible. But the story just ain't adding up, bro.
For the sake of profit. And one of the reasons why his pick-me behaviors really bother me. But you know what else is irresponsible? Posting SpongeBob X Patrick porn. Completely full detailed and uncensored.
Yeah, that's
so
weird.
A few months before Cozy posted bike content, he was one of those edgy white kid meme accounts complaining about blue hair and pronouns in 2024. Basically just rage bait for attention. And about a year ago, he posted uncensored, extremely detailed SpongeBob porn literally a few months before he started his biker persona, and it's still up. But while this is already unsafe for his audience, it isn't actually his worst post. Here's another one he posted a few months before his bike persona. Me when I see unsupervised 12-year-olds. Like, are you fucking
that's
serious?
creepy.
The dude with an audience of unsupervised 12-year-olds who thirst for him posted this only a year ago. That's unbelievable. Seriously, think of this from a parent's perspective.
This is making
Imagine
me
you have a
uncomfortable.
daughter, and she is on the internet commenting, OMG, you're so fine, I'm underage though. Under this guy's posts, who doesn't have his age posted, he doesn't remove these comments or do anything to discourage them. And just a few months before he started his actual biker persona, he posted memes about assaulting 12-year-olds.
Dude just said that he removes comments, and that's good. And then here he's saying he doesn't remove comments. Like, which one is it? And I really cannot stress this enough. The video should have started with this stuff. The cringe or pick-me behavior shouldn't have been an element beyond, I think this is what he's doing to gain these little girls' attention, and this is the evidence I have to support that. That should have been the video. Like, what's with all the pick me and I'm gonna degrade myself and... Do you see what I mean? Like, am I crazy here? Or...
It's unbelievable. Like, I get that there's gonna be contrarians being like, oh, it's just an edgy joke. Sorry, but I don't think children's entertainers should be posting about child abuse. Like, obviously he's just being edgy and shocking for the sake of it, but I really hate that the Book Talk mascot literally made jokes about abusing kids. Here's another.
Is that guy the Book Talk mascot? In one of the clips, he was like, woo! We're almost to 100K, y'all. I don't think any mascot of anything would have less than 100,000 whatevers. You know what I mean?
I'm quite grateful for that. But
Weird.
I prefer the women in my life to be under 12.
That's
And you might be like,
yeah.
look, the joke is at the expense of bro, but
That's
this is
not a
still
joke,
massively
for
irresponsible thing
real.
to post because some kid younger than 12 in the comments literally shot their shot with him on their grandpa's phone. It's just so unbelievable.
That should have been in the first minute of the video, right?
Incredibly irresponsible to have posted all this shit. Initially, this section was going to end after I talked about his comment section and how it's probably irresponsible to tacitly encourage thirst comments from teenagers, but the deeper I dug, the worse it got. Like, dude, once I found SpongeBob porn, I had to rewrite this entire section, because I spent so much time trying to, like, tiptoe around issues and not be too rude, because ultimately I was like, it's cringe, and maybe he doesn't know better.
The SpongeBob porn is the least bad part. I mean, look, guys. We've all had the internet for decades now. It pops up. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. There's a lot of things I see that I don't like. But it's like, what are you talking about? You didn't want to be rude? You didn't want to be rude. Calling them out for potentially trying to appeal to young girls, little girls, is rude? I might just be completely out of touch here, guys.
You know, he could be more responsible. And then I found this shit. I'm like, dude, why am I trying to be careful with a guy who posts SpongeBob porn and child abuse jokes? Like, okay. But anyways, as for the topic of the video itself, I feel like it really proves my point about pick-me guys adopting a certain persona. Like,
What?
he has switched through multiple personalities in his time on Instagram in just a year. He started off as a vaguely conservative range bait poster, then he turned into a bit of a raunchy thirst trapper, then he posted like generally wholesome bike content, and then he started doing talks with Cozy, where he started becoming the like golden retriever book talk boy, who definitely doesn't joke about abusing 12-year-olds. And yeah, that's where we're at today. Like, the dude's a chameleon. But that's about it for Cozy. Sorry if that was a bit of a tangent. I couldn't just not cover that extra stuff.
I don't think this guy could blend in anywhere, no matter how hard he tried.
Once I found it. So while Cozy's pick-me behaviors bother me for those reasons, not every pick-me guy bothers me for the same reasons. So let's move on to our next genre of guy. So while Bike Talk's probably the largest and most provocative group, for every single demographic of person that someone is attracted to, there are pick-me's who exist to pander to them. And that leads us to our next group, the most desperate men on the internet.
It's really funny that I dress like this and give off like like a tough sort of thing going on.
No.
And then I cry to Phoebe Bridgers in the shower.
I stopped watching the video right about here last night. I've been thinking about doing this kind of live stream or video content for a while. And I gotta say, the dude, he inspired me. So I have to give him that. Royal Seagull? What was his name? Royal Young. Thank you for inspiring me to stream.
And I listen to Sea Rose and
But this is about where I stopped, this is about where I stopped. And I planned to do this right now, so I am going into uncharted territory here. Maybe this whole video is a fake out. And at the end, he's gonna come on camera and be like, "Ooh, I bet you were saying all this different stuff. I played you, son." Maybe.
boy genius. And
What?
the dichotomy is crazy. But I don't even listen to hardcore music that much. Look at this.
He might have been making fun of this guy when he said dichotomy earlier.
Shirt. It's my friend's tattoo brand. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Later.
What do you mean you're gonna go now? You can't just drop that then leave. Like, what? And this is such a funny video to make. He's just sitting there like, okay, ladies, check out all these check boxes I fill. Okay, bye. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's so funny because these pick me dudes always make the most ham-fisted videos ever. Like, all you gotta do instead of posting this
I cry to Phoebe Bridgers in the shower.
is just instead post a video of you, like, getting your fit ready,
That-
but then put a Phoebe Bridgers song in the background.
That, what we just saw, is like pure pick me behavior. Like, that guy that was all like, "Ugh, I know it looked tough, but you know. That's a total pick me. He probably, I don't know, talks to his, you know, the women in his life, and he'll say stuff like, man, my friend Chester, I found out he was cheating on his girlfriend the other day. And, you know, girl he's talking to will be like, oh, that sucks. And then, you know, the guy will be like, I just see it everywhere I go. All these dudes, none of them stay loyal. And then the woman, depending on the scenario, what he was trying to get at, might be like, oh, he's so sweet. You know, that's pick me behavior. Like, I could host a master class on pick me behavior. Trust me.
And then all your audience will connect the dots themselves. Like, oh my gosh, he dresses like a tough guy, but he listens to Phoebe Bridgers? Whoa, the dichotomy's crazy. Like, it's a real show don't tell type moment. If he ever comes back to TikTok, please don't harass this guy. Like, he's not hurting anybody, it's just a wildly obvious ploy to get female attention. And I will tell you, if you want a female audience, just talk about book talk. For the first month of my channel, I had like an 85% female audience. But back to this guy, for some reason,
Taking notes.
probably not a very deep one. It just really bugs me seeing people try and create this false, exaggerated image of themselves to like try to appeal to women. Like it's kind of
I'm talking about the book talk women I see on YouTube that are in their 30s and have actually lived a little bit of life and know what the heck they're talking about when I was taking that note. Just to be clear.
giving wolf in sheep's clothing if you're trying this hard to get noticed. Like, sorry, I don't really believe you when you say you cry to Phoebe Bridgers in the shower. Because, like, all the aspects of this video combined.
I
make it
cry
sound
in
really
the shower so
disingenuous.
no one
But, like,
can
again, people can kind of,
tell.
like, detect that. And it makes
No,
them ask
that's
questions
crying in the
subconsciously. Like,
rain.
even if they're not aware of it, they're asking in their head, okay, why did it get to this point? Why do you need to hop on the internet and say that you cry to Phoebe Bridgers in the shower? The intent is obviously to attract a female audience, so, like, why don't you already have a female audience? Like, why do you have to resort to these ham-fisted videos? Is there something that prevents you from getting women in real life? Probably not. It's probably just an example of a lack of internet self-awareness. All I'm saying is that these are the questions their mind immediately jumps to when you see this sort of content. It's like seeing someone who's really desperate on a dating app. It's like, okay, why did it get to this point? That kind of puts you off, even if you find them attractive or they have mutual interests. And again, I think that uncertainty just sort
My mind, whenever I saw that last guy and one of the more manly men he showed at the beginning of this video as one of the pick-me dudes, what I thought, where my mind went was, oh, I see right-wing shorts and stuff all the time, and it'll just be a dude bro that'll be like, yeah, I just got done chopping some logs, about to go do, you know, so I'm gonna go sand down my table, you know? It's like, and the audience of that, and perhaps the men themselves making those videos and shorts, they think that anyone not doing stuff similar to chopping wood isn't going to look the same. Like, they wouldn't have a grizzled type aesthetic. And they're mostly right, but And, not but, and the guys that he's shown so far, like, I think that's what they're going for. I just don't think they can achieve it. Cause the guy that had the black t-shirt on, he was trying to describe himself as being, or at least appearing, dangerous or tough. But if you've ever been to Seattle, that guy is everywhere, and he is not tough. I'm not saying he's weak or fragile. It's just, I don't know, you kind of do get grizzled whenever you do a bunch of masculine or manly stuff. So there's nothing wrong with not doing those types of things. I don't do them all the time. I just think that they are going for that same audience, but they want to maybe change their perception into one that's, oh, you don't have to be this type of way to have this style or aesthetics. I feel, though, that the two men that he has shown so far trying to achieve that don't have the grit to make it work or pull it off.
Sort of bugs people, and why I got such a visceral reaction. Side note though, but it's really giving those people who try to like rig their Spotify rap to have certain artists in the top. Like, dude, you're not even attention starved at this point. You're in an attention famine, okay? But the next guy, a TikToker by the name of Montaigne, is absolutely drowning in attention. Let's look at how he accomplished it. So this guy was big on TikTok a few years ago, until he rapidly fell off because of one sentence he said. Here's an example of one of his videos.
Oh, you want to know another absolutely disgusting secret about men that they definitely do not want you to know? And as usual, this is an absolutely foolproof method, so please pay attention and do not tell anybody that I told you. Every single man will probably try to convince you at one point that they do not have a wandering eye. Let me just save you a lot of time. That is a lie.
I'm not gonna spend too long on him because he's already been covered ad nauseum. Like, when you think of pick me guy, this is a guy that pops up in your head. He is the LeBron of pick me men, alright? Like, he had this down to a science. Every day for like a year straight, this dude would hop in front of a camera, start chopping vegetables with his tattoos facing the camera, and then say like a bunch of like woman-centered things that he got off of like Ask Reddit or something.
Maybe he got it off Ask Reddit, I don't know. But this guy, that's a cool tattoo. It kind of looks like a ICP, the Great Malenko tattoo. I don't know if he'd appreciate me saying that, but it does. This guy reminds me of someone. And this might be pick-me behavior. Let's see more. I don't know.
Maybe a hot take, but I feel like the more niche someone's like interests or hobbies are, the hotter it makes them.
This might be a hot take, but grass is green. Anyways, everyone, comment your niche hobbies in a parasocial attempt to try to get with me. That way I can keep getting engagement without actually saying anything of substance. And don't get me wrong, a lot of the disgusting facts about men were absolutely true, but it seems really disingenuous and like he has ulterior motives when he's also clearly trying to thirst trap. Like, oh look guys, I can cook. Oh look, I started the video with my shirt up. Oh look at my tattoos. And look, maybe I'm a hater, but one of my most liked comments ever on social media is I commented under one of these videos. I put, he looks like he went to a tattoo parlor and said, I would like some tattoos, please. And that might have been my...
That's iDubbbz. Let's be for real. But this guy doesn't seem as much like a pick-me as much of he seems like a thirst trap. Like, this dude is hot. This dude knows he's hot. This dude gets a lot of validation from, you know, the comments and stuff on his videos, I imagine. I don't know, of course. So he's probably like, what the heck am I gonna say? You know, probably took a picture at some point and got a ton of really awesome comments. It's like, oh man, I felt good. I want more of that. But what the heck am I going to say? And he just came up with this crap. Like maybe he got it off of Ask Reddit, like the Royal Young said. But this dude is total thirst trap, 100%. I don't see pick me at all.
My second most liked thing on social media behind my Bookstagram video. So far. This will be like 100th in about a year. Don't get me wrong, I don't even dislike the tattoos. I was just kind of being a hater that day. And like, you know, he could have like ignored the hate comments or just ignored what he was getting. Because like, again, he was doing fine. He had a shit ton of viewers. But no, he decided to rap against the haters. Which, I don't know why people do this. It's never worked in the history of anything ever. But here's an example of why you
Alright,
should
let's
not
see
rap
this.
against the haters.
Yeah.
So I've been getting a ton of hate comments, and I just want to formally ask you to please stop. Step one, I never get tired of the hate. You gotta be good before you ever be great. And I know the hate comments only happen cause they boy.
Cut a boy. I don't think I could understate how badly this hurt this guy's reputation. Like, it's been 2 years since that video, and he still gets cut a boy comments.
Okay, ladies, I don't know who needs to hear this. Ladies, you wanna know something? See, it was almost a good impression. It's just off because you used a plate instead of a
Cut a boy. Cut a boy.
Alright, let's watch you cut those mushrooms.
Man, did he do it live? He could have edited.
Like this and the Film Cooper
Or a
Marsha P. Johnson joke, I think
retake.
are the two longest running jokes on TikTok I've seen. And he posted this video 2 months after the cut a board incident.
To all the men, and yes, it's almost 95% men that comment cut a board on my videos. You comment that, you're a cut a boy. You're my son. You're literally my son. You're my child.
Like, bro, it took you 2 months to think of that? Come on, man. Anyway, so the
Aw,
reason I bring
man.
up pick me dudes like this is
Aw,
just because, like,
man.
it's very fascinating to me that despite being so insanely transparent with what they're doing, like, half their comments don't clock them. Like, again, just look at the comments for everyone I've showed so far. But it also shows how well, like, the average person's bullshit detector works so. Because as soon as the general TikTok audience caught wind of what these guys were doing, they got parodied to death. Like, in 2025, it's still a regular meme to film your own version of the Phoebe Bridgers guy thing, or, like, chop vegetables or whatever, or say cut a board. Although these guys didn't really do anything wrong, clearly there's something that elicits some sort of, like, reaction from the internet. It might just be that they're cringe, but personally I think it's a little more than that. I just think that general attention seekingness is just pretty off-putting to the average person. Because, like, again, why do you need to do this? It really does give off ulterior motives or desperation. And I mean, I guess there kind of are ulterior motives here. Like, it's very clearly trying to get like a large female audience. I mean, nothing wrong with targeting a specific demographic. I'm targeting bisexual 20-year-olds who watch Curtis Connor. But my point is that, like, it's so like icky to watch a dude try to like differentiate himself from the other guys so much and trying to be like one of the girlies, as his comments would put it. But then also trying to be like the hot guy. It's like, okay, you're not immune to what you're saying either, you know?
That guy, the hot one, he did lose it as soon as the cut-a-board or cut-a-boy video. Like, he lost his suave. Like, completely. He should have taken the exit ramp when it presented itself way sooner. Or, seems like he never took it. So, yeah, he should have taken it a long time ago. But yeah, when you lose your suave like that, you don't get it back. Not with that, like the crowd you lost it with, you'll never regain it with them. You have to find a new community to suave it up in.
Nothing wrong with either one, but when you try to be both, it's just like, are you being one of those dudes who, like, say they're feminists to get women? Not at all saying that dudes shouldn't identify as feminists. In fact, I really dislike the type of guy who's like, you know, I'm no feminist, but women have it hard. Like, okay, why aren't you then? My point is just that, unfortunately, the male feminist stereotype exists for a reason, and these sorts of dudes kind of embody it. I actually think a lot of women do want to see more of this type of content from dudes. It's just when they make it so obvious that it's like a ploy to get people who find them attractive, it's hard to take it seriously. And again, it just really gives off the vibes of ulterior motives, even if these guys are great guys in real life. But But speaking of real life, this behavior is not at all confined to social media. Performative dudes exist everywhere. Not even presidents are immune to it. Obama read Marx in order to try to pick up socialist women. I'm not even joking. And then he just forgot all of it like a year or two later once he realized it didn't work. He probably read the actual Gotha program instead of...
He kind of did the same thing to the American public to get us to vote for him. Just saying, guys.
the critique of it, and then he's wondering why the long-legged socialist, in his words, didn't like him. I think describing her like that's pretty telling too. Like, wow, dude, I think that's one of the things that really bug me about pick-me men in particular, is like, they think if they just say the right things, that's gonna get you in a woman's pants. Like, sorry, dude, women and just people in general aren't robots. They can tell when you're being performative with your interests. And again, that gives the vibe of ulterior motives. And don't get me wrong, it's not just Obama either.
So you're holding the autobiography of Malcolm X along with Alex Haley. I don't know how far you are into the book, but what's your biggest takeaway so far?
I kind of just started a couple days ago, but I've read and a lot of notes over the years. This is my first time actually reading this from start to finish. But just a very smart man, very smart man, and basically his words in the 60s and what was going on is actually what's going on today still.
In fact, there's a whole performative reading epidemic going on. Basically just dudes reading in public and...
The LeBron clip, like, good on her for calling him out, you know? But at the same time, if someone sees LeBron with a book and it inspires them or encourages them to go out and read it, it's probably a good thing, right? Like, sure, it was performative on LeBron's part, but maybe it got through to somebody.
Drinking matcha. Now don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with reading or matcha. I read a lot too. I'm just a screenager, so I download everything on my phone. However, I will say, if you're reading in public and you're not at least on page 50, like dude, if you start a book in public, I am body slamming you in the park, because that is embarrassing. I don't even have to be there. As soon as you open up page 1 in public, I am dropping out of orbit. I'm always fucking watching, okay? But speaking of...
Does it count if you're on vacation? That's all I want to know, okay?
of embarrassing things, next section. You've probably heard me mention a lot how distrustful I am of these type of guys, referring to general pick-me's, not just book readers. I don't know, book readers. And I think there's a couple examples that really illustrate why this sort of guy gets that sort of distrust. Where like, they were trying to really portray themselves as like the safe, unproblematic guy, but then they turned out to be like... So there's this one guy a few years ago who was big on TikTok named Jonathan Robert Bell, and he went by Joe Rob on TikTok. And he made content very similar to Montaigne's, but like even more direct. And his whole shtick was essentially making just like social justice content in general, which again, that's great. And at the end of his videos, he'd usually like tell men to be better or do better. Again, nothing wrong with that either. Like a lot of people from marginalized communities appreciated this guy. Like he had a bunch of fan accounts too. And despite his good reputation though, a lot of people did have some sort of skepticism toward his content, because like, when you present this super sanitized image of yourself, people tend to wonder, like, is there something you're hiding? Not saying that skepticism is right, but like, when it comes to this guy, the fears actually were proven correct, because not long later, he got exposed by multiple minors for grooming them. And despite how safe everyone felt around this guy, he turned out to be the exact opposite. And I really feel like people like Joe Rob are one of the reasons that people who exhibit pick-me behaviors just...
This is why we can't have nice things.
Get ruthlessly pounced on the internet, even if they're not guilty of anything. Like, don't get me wrong, people like Joe Rob are like a unique sort of evil, but I feel like every time someone like him gets exposed, they kind of get added to this like internet collective subconscious, and then people are understandably skeptical of the next sort of guy like him to pop up. I'm not saying that making politically correct content is like a pick-me behavior, it's literally a good thing. My point is just that when guys like this get exposed who seem super safe, the internet naturally starts to put up some like psychological defenses. Because think about it, if the safest guy ever on the internet turned out to be a groomer, then like what does that say about the people who are really trying hard to look like a safe guy? Not saying that anyone's right for like speculating about the morals of pick-me people. Again, the point of this video is literally just to point out why we instinctively get cringed out by this behavior. Or why I do, at least. This is why I make out about it. Maybe you disagree, let me know in the comments. And finally, these are kind of anecdotal, but I feel like this is one of the biggest reasons why pick-me's kind of ick people out. Like, generally, abusive or misogynistic dudes will often have this, like, outward-facing persona that's, like, very perfect. Like, they seem completely normal and, like, well-adjusted, but then behind closed doors, that's where, like, all the problematic stuff comes out.
This is true. I think, well, I was gonna say most men, but a more relevant thing to say would be every woman I have ever met has known men like this. So this is a very real thing that should be called out. And he used the ick more accurately, I believe, as well. There. But, yeah.
And I think a lot of these, like, pick-me guys kind of give off that sort of vibe. It's like, okay, you're acting, like, a little too perfect, you know? Like, you're acting, like, a little too targeted toward this audience. Like, if you gotta try this hard to prove that you're the safe hot guy, people will automatically start to wonder, is he actually the safe hot guy? Like, I don't know. My general thesis is you gotta show this through, like, actions more than words, and you can't, like, really force your content. Like, people are good with vibes. Like, if you're giving off, like, safe vibes, people will assume that. Overall, though, men on the internet have gotten insanely crafty when it comes to, like, inventing a persona to put on that fits, like, a certain audience's ideals. And whether it be for romantic attention or simply views, it really just bugs the internet as a whole, because in the best case, it comes off as just mildly cringe, but in the worst case, it's, like, literally a front for an abusive person. And in most cases, it just comes off like they have something to hide, because, like, again, why do you gotta try so hard? And I found that very interesting. I've always, like, seen these pick-me accounts and felt, like, a little icked out by them, but I've never really been able to put my finger on why until I made this video, and tried to put, like, the psychological reasons to words. But yeah, I hope you found this interesting too. Later.
Yeah, most of what he said is accurate. Just when he got, I feel like the portraying that dude or his attributes and saying like ADHD doesn't look like this or this guy's faking it, and then saying like you never see dudes in their 20s walking around or running around in public with cat ears on, acting all kawaii and stuff like that. And it's just not true. ADHD does kind of look like that sometimes, and it damn sure feels like it. And I see cat boys all the damn time. I mean, come on. And also, the little girls and the biker dudes comments, that's where you should have started. Like, I don't know why you felt the need to, maybe, like I said, maybe this guy deserves being bullied because he's, you know, preying on little girls. So in that case, yeah. But to try to say that any of these qualities aren't real, that's where I had a problem. And also whenever he was saying that he's going to degrade himself or lose his dignity to record a part of his video, that was calling the bike guy or saying he has no dignity. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know the guy. But that's still pretty, you know. But after we got past that section and we got into the pretty boys, pick me boys, I guess these is all pick me boys. But when we got to the hot ones, they felt way more like thirst traps than anything else. And once the suave guy lost his suave while trying to rap at the haters, which I agree with Young here, you should never do that. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. But when he initially showed the clip, it said, "This is Tyler, the Creator," and then he started doing bars like Jay-Z. So I felt like it was calculated, like the suave guy was like, oh yeah, I'm about to intentionally stir up some engagement. But it didn't work out too well for him. And the fake activism, yeah, I'm with you on that. But if you can encourage someone to do some real activism, that's good, you know. I wish the people doing fake activism would just start with the real activism, but what am I doing? I'm sitting here watching videos, so I ain't got no room to talk on that one. But thank you for joining me, and thank you for watching. I'm going to, of course, go back and rewatch this stream, see what all I could do better. And if I feel like it, I'll do it again. I have no idea how to end this.